Berry, Idaho?" Impish delight danced in the boy's big cobalt eyes. Smoke Jensen did not have to fake the flash of irritation that warmed his insides. "What the hell is Monty doing, telling tales like that to a kid?" he snapped. "Well, no mind. The harm, if any, has already been done. I suppose you have a head full of wild tales about Smoke Jensen and old Preacher?" Bobby looked solemn and nodded. "Yes, sir. But they just make me feel proud living here, being around you." He produced his most engaging smile. Smoke fought back the agitation born of the long days of confinement during blizzards and in their aftermath. With effort, he produced a more light-hearted mood. "Well, time for you to take a dip in the horse trough to float off some of today's dust. Then you had best change clothes. You're eating at the main house tonight." Bobby brightened. "Am I? That's swell. Did Miss Sally bake any pies today?" Smoke smiled warmly. This was one place he and the boy shared common ground. They dearly loved his wife's pies. "Yep, apricot, I think. Made it from some of those we dried last summer." Bobby's 11-year-old eyes went big and round. "I love apricot." "Seems to me you love anything, so long as it's spelled P-I-E. Now get along with you and wash up." Dinner had gone well. Link Patterson, his vivacious wife Cynthia, and their 2 young children had attended. Much to the delight of Bobby Harris and the Patterson youngsters, Sally Jensen had prepared 2 pies. Smoke was secretly pleased, too. There was nothing he enjoyed more than Sally's pies and biscuits. Crusty and brown on the outside, light, flaky, and soft inside. Or just about anything she cooked, for that matter. Long ago, when he was not much older than Bobby, Smoke had learned to cook from old Preacher, the legendary mountain man who had taken Smoke in and raised him to manhood. Preacher's culinary accomplishments ran to the school of, "If it's small enough to put in the pot, stew it. If it's too big, or red meat, roast or broil it." Smoke's kitchen skills developed accordingly. To this day he retained that first burst of gratitude and delight he'd experienced when he'd discovered that not only was Sally lovely to look at and saucy in temperament, but also a marvelous cook. Not that Smoke Jensen doted on food like some Eastern gourmand. Preacher had seen to the practicality of Smoke's education. He had become a devotee of moderation. That fact notwithstanding, or perhaps because of it, Smoke believed that when the best could be had, make the most of it. Now, as he lowered the wick in the last lamp in their living room, his mind turned to means to escape the tedium the long winter had engendered. It centered, as most of Smoke Jensen's thinking did, on the things of nature. Perhaps a 2 or 3 day fishing expedition far up the valley, beyond the area developed for the ranch. Or a jaunt down to Denver. Just him and Sally, away and alone for a visit to the theater, visiting the livestock exchange, and his old friend Silas Green. Such things would have to wait, Smoke acknowledged, as he blew out the flickering yellow flame, until the calves and new foals had all been branded. He had no way to know that Sally envisioned something entirely different for them. Despite the difficulty of traversing the miles to Big Rock, Sally had maintained relatively regular communications with her family back in Keene, New Hampshire. High on her list of concerns was the state of her mother's health. Her father's last letter had brought the welcome news of considerable improvement. It had also contained intelligence regarding the top priority for Sally Jensen. She would have to broach the subject with Smoke at the earliest opportunity in order to have any hope of success. That would come over breakfast the next morning, she decided, as she arranged herself in a suitably suggestive posture on the large, comfortable bed. Wavering yellow light announced the approach of her husband. Smoke Jensen entered the room and peered beyond the saffron ball of candlelight. His light-hearted smile bloomed into a wide grin of anticipation when he saw his wife's position. "I'll undress and put out the light," he offered. "No."